what a year for Jordan Peele, man. Honestly, guys, let's just take a look at everything that this man has been working on or has released within a span of 6 months. In February, he was nominated for Best Picture as a producer for BlacKkKlansman. In March, Us was released. In less than 1 week, on April 1st, his new series, The Twilight Zone, which he is working as the host, executive producing, and writing some episodes, is going to drop on CBS All Access. And then in June, he is going to have a voice role in the upcoming Toy Story 4. The dude is killing it right now, man. Hey there guys, what's up, what's going on? It is Movie Review Mike 18 here, back with yet another movie review I have for you guys. And in this video, I am going to be reviewing Us. This is Jordan Peele's second horror film that he wrote and directed, following hot on his success for Get Out, which won him the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. So guys, Us follows a family vacationing at their summer lake house in Santa Cruz, California. The parents are played by Lupita Nyongo and Winston Duke, and they have 2 children, a young boy and a young girl. Late one night, they are visited by their doppelgangers, aka their lookalikes. They're exact freaking lookalikes. They're wearing these red costumes, they have these golden, sharp-looking scissors, and they go by the name The Tethered. And let's just put it this way, they have some very sinister motives in mind for this family. And that is all I am going to really say about the plot of this movie. I honestly want you guys to go into this movie cold and really know as little as humanly possible. So guys, I was very excited and very much so anticipating Us walking into this movie. It was like in my top 5 most anticipated films of the year. When I heard that Jordan Peele was directing another horror film, his follow-up to Get Out, so close, just 2 years after he had released Get Out, I was really excited. Get Out was a film that I really thoroughly enjoyed, and I think part of the reason why I enjoyed that movie so much was because of Jordan Peele's stamp on that film. Not only was that a very personal film for Jordan Peele to make, his methods of storytelling that were implemented so incredibly well. There were so many thought-provoking things that he did in that film as a director and as a writer, which is why he won the freaking Oscar for it. The dude goes to this really crazy place and thinks of these really inventive and creative stories to tell within the horror genre while basing them around incredibly pressing social issues that need to be addressed. And I think that's why I was so excited going into Us, and that's why I just cannot freaking wait until next Monday, and I'm setting up a CBS All Access account to watch the new Twilight Zone. But getting back to Us, guys, I really adored this movie. This is a horror film that feels terrifying and has its terrifying moments, and yes, there's blood and there's gore and there's, creepy doppelgangers who are going to definitely give some people nightmares. But this movie worked for me so much more so as a mystery almost, as I'm sitting there trying to really decipher all of the little context clues and the little foreshadowing elements that Jordan Peele tries to interweave throughout the film, throughout the whole course of the movie. And I'm really just sitting trying to put the puzzle pieces together. Us is a movie that is a lot more ambiguous and leaves a lot more questions to be unanswered. Still, even having watched the film 3 days ago, I'm still asking myself more questions about the movie and about the characters and about all the events of the film than when I went into the movie initially. Whenever a film can be that thought-provoking and get you to start thinking that much, you know it's a really good, well-thought-out movie. Let's get into the performances real quick, starting off with Lupita Nyongo. Now, I feel Lupita Nyongo has definitely proven herself in the past of being a very talented and capable actress. She's had some really great films. She's never had a horror movie, though. She was incredible in this movie, and she had to do everything twice. She was 2 people in this movie, so props off to her right off the bat for that. I loved just how fierce she was as a character and how when she needed to kick ass and take action, she did just that, but at the same time, she's repressing a very traumatic childhood. I think she carried the weight of that traumatic experience incredibly well and balanced it very well with that need to sort of protect her family. Excellent leading performance, and what the hell was going on with her voice in this movie, man? Creepiest thing I've heard in a very long time, but her double's voice in this movie is just, ugh. Oh man. I also felt Winston Duke was great in this movie. He held his own. Dude was also freaking hysterical. There was a lot of comedic relief in this movie. A lot of his timing was great for a lot of the comedy that was in the film. It was well delivered. Nothing really felt forced or fake. I guess I should have walked into us expecting there to be some comedy. Not only does Jordan Peele have that sort of background in having been in you know, things like Key and Peele and Mad TV, just the family unit as a whole, I thought not only were they smart and it was nice to just see them make wise decisions and take action as opposed to so many other horror family cliches that you just get in horror movies all the time. And the kids were great in my opinion. This was one of the first times in a long time I watched kids in a horror movie and I feel they didn't make dumb horror movie kid decisions like kids do in other horror movies. They make dumb horror movie kid decisions. I also just feel the need to mention this, but I do not think we have had a horror film with a focusing on a black family at all. I honestly went back and tried to look at other older horror movies, and just going down a list of all like 2000s horror, 90s horror, any of that, I don't think we've ever had a black family at the focus of a horror movie, and it was so nice and refreshing to see that, and I think that that is really important for needs of diversity within movies. So in my opinion, guys, the movie really shines because of Jordan Peele's writing and his smart handling of his direction. Just going back and thinking over shots in my head and looking at articles talking about this movie, analyzing little Easter eggs or references or little foreshadowing clues that Peele hides into his shots throughout the film, I can confirm that this is a guy who had planned every single shot so meticulously and so carefully, and he knew every little single choice that you make as a director is important and has to be important to the story and what you're trying to say. And by adding those little clues within his shot language, but not only through his writing and his camera work or whatever, but I'm talking about through his lighting choices, through his props, his use of sets. All of those are tools that we use as filmmakers to contribute to visual storytelling. Everything was just so clearly focused and so well thought out. So the writing in this movie is of course truly amazing, and while I've been praising how incredibly talented Jordan Peele is behind the camera, it is also really important to say how incredibly talented he is writing his own scripts, and how much planning and thought process goes into not only the plot and the story elements of his movies, but also a lot of the thematic elements that he tries to interweave as part of social commentary. There's excellent twists in this movie, and there's a lot of very faithful build-up to those moments throughout this film. And of course, just as Jordan Peele did with Get Out, there is incredibly important social commentary on issues of race, class, and just the overall theme that the posters and the trailers have been sort of promoting with this entire, experience and build up for this movie, that we are essentially our own worst enemies. Also, just have to mention this before anything else, the score in this movie is unbelievable. The main, theme track for the remixing of I Got Five on It, holy shit. I've been listening to that on replay. It's one of the creepiest horror themes in the last couple years. Excellent, excellent score work as well. I do have one gripe with the film. I do feel that this film does a masterful job setting up the first 2/3 and raising all of these questions. But unfortunately, within the last 20-25 minutes of this movie, that kind of is the point where the film just throws a lot of heavy-handed exposition at you, especially in one key sequence. I feel that a lot of those questions that were raised throughout the first 2/3 of the movie should have been more evenly addressed and distributed throughout the rest of the movie. I also will be completely honest with you guys. This movie is a lot more ambiguous than something like Get Out was. There are going to be a lot of questions that you're still going to be asking yourself once you leave this movie. And that is the sign of a really good movie that makes you use your brain. But at that same time, I am a little detached because I only have seen the movie once. So although I did love this film and I loved the characters, I loved the cast, I loved the score, I loved just the horror atmosphere that Jordan Peele managed to bring forth in his writing, his directing, his camera work, his visual storytelling methods that were beautifully implemented throughout the film, I do feel a little detached because I am still asking myself a bunch of freaking questions, and I feel like I will only enjoy this movie so much more upon a second viewing. This movie absolutely requires you watch it again, give it another viewing, properly put all of these pieces together. But until then, guys, I am going to give us a solid grade of a 4 out of 5 stars or a grade of an A-. So I know I'm going to get this question. I might as well just address it right now. What do you prefer, Get Out or Us? As of right now, guys, honestly, I probably am going to say Get Out. It's the movie that stuck with me. It's been around a lot longer. But also, I feel that that film is a lot more straightforward, and it works as a much more straightforward narrative. But at the same time, I will say this much. Us feels like a much more terrifying horror film. It's a lot more bloodier. It's a lot more gorier. I think it earns that hardcore R rating a lot more so. So there you guys have it. Those were my thoughts on Us. I really do implore you guys, go watch this movie if you have not yet seen it. If you are a fan of the horror movie genre, please go see it. Not only is this movie creepy and has its really intense and terrifying moments, but you can just tell what a fan of horror Jordan Peele is. There's so many references to other great horror movies. Us is definitely worth the price of admission. Please go see it. Go seek it out. If you have seen the movie, please let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear some of your guys' interpretations into the film as a whole. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Take care, guys.